Now, here are the reasons the election results were necessary. That was the title of a message that's on my site, anyadvicefortoday.com. It is a message from Wilhelm, who I channel, which many of you probably know that, but it will give you a great understanding of what's happening in your life and what's happening in our world. We had an election in the United States, and so a lot of people were really one way or the other, were upset about the results or disappointed or surprised. I wasn't, because this is what I've been talking about for the longest time. We're moving through an evolutionary change in our world. And so the reason those results are necessary is because they caused you to question yourself. They caused you to question your existence, your importance, why you're in the world. And I know that it's for a brilliant reason, for you can expand, evolve, and become more. And we can only do that when we choose to let go of hatred, anger, judgment, and all of those things. That's the evolutionary process that we move through individually, but also collectively. That's what the world does. We have to decide if we're going to let go of whatever hasn't served us individually or what hasn't served our greater civilization. And that has been so many things that we have judged ourselves about and judged others. So, unless we were willing to look at that, nothing changes. So, the reason that the United States was leading the way in this restructuring, as Wilhelm has said so often, is because we haven't lived up to our obligations of becoming free, equal, and providing for all. That was what they said. And so then we had to go through this Pluto return, you see, and it made it really stressful. It brought everything to the surface so we could see it. And then the only way we change it is when you decide to love yourself. See, we're always in this dance of coming to oneness, understanding that every single human matters and has a purpose and is born with something. I absolutely know that because of who I turned out to be. But accepting that was so challenging. And it's been the same for you, but it's also been the same for our civilization. This is why we're moving through this. But that's also why it's the best time for you to be alive. Because when you decide to move through all of those older limitations and restrictions and things that have held you back, we all have them. They're in our history. There's no human who doesn't have them. We just make a decision how many of us will decide to move beyond it. But the other thing that happened is that time is something that we don't really understand. And that has come through so much when I do a Wilhelm channeling session because it's all aligned. Everything I have received has been aligned with the energies that are moving in the universe. We only create or manifest anything through energy, and it's all in our consciousness, and we have control over it. But we just develop ways of learning how to do that and to manifest things and to heal. I was given something that caused me to bring a new philosophy to the world that causes us to heal and evolve and reach a higher state of consciousness. But it probably would not have made sense to you or me or anyone else until we saw the results coming up in our lives and in the world. And then we decide, oh, maybe we can make a change now. And that change is always going to be about loving yourself, moving through all the old stuff that didn't serve you. We can try to project it onto everyone else, but that never works because that's not why we're here. You're here to live this wonderful one life that is within you. And I know that that's true, which is why my life is now being devoted to giving that information to as many people as I can. But the wonderful thing is, there was also a channeling session that was held on the last year on the full moon. I think it was on November 13th. I will leave a link. The link is up there, but I'll leave the link in this description because when you listen to that, there would be no question about what's going on. First of all, there would be no question about what Wilhelm has given us all. And because I knew that what it was something that could change the world because it causes you to become happy. It causes you to love yourself. It causes you to understand your life purpose. It causes you to understand everything that you've been trying to do in your life to get to that place of self ownership. And I know that, but it took me a while to own it as well. But that was what my role was. And you will hear it in this particular recording, and I know you're going to love it, but I'm going to read this message to you first, and then I'll leave the link for the recording in this video. And as you listen to it, your life will be changed because you will understand what is happening for you and what's happening in our world right now. And yes, it came through a year ago, but that is how I receive information. Consciousness is something that we have are still figuring out, and I didn't know I was doing that. I'm just saying I didn't know that I had developed this or I had built this up because that's what we all do. You're doing the same thing. We just help one another come to understand that. But here is the message, and I just want you to take this in. And again, as you listen to the session, it's going to make a lot more sense to you as well. It'll tie everything together. And I'm saying to you, if you listen to all of it, many people don't because it's an hour or so. But if you listen to it, you'll come away a different person just by hearing what's going on. It'll awaken something in your consciousness, and that's what is always going on. But here is the message that was a year ago today, and it was, please choose your new self. Every soul is born onto the physical plane with a unique blueprint to follow that causes them to evolve and contribute to the evolution of your planet. You have that plan. It is within you and has little to do with your past, what you did not do, or mistakes you believe you might have made. What you choose to do now matters, and we want you to accept and love your new self. That is the guidance we have provided because you exist at an extraordinary time on your planet, and your essence was needed. The main point we want you to accept is your importance, and you do so over time. But we are not limited by linear time, and that concept is challenging for you all. But if you absorb a portion of what we gave you 3 years ago, you will aid your evolution and the ascension of your planet. It only requires your self belief. November 9th, 2020. Now you can become more of yourself. No matter who you are currently in a phase of your life that you want to experience so that you might evolve. We know you may look at your world now and find it difficult to believe, but this message might make sense if you pretend to believe us. The intuition Roger has heard but never trusted until now is this. We are stating his role to help you find yours. Roger always felt that he was to study the world conditions or this dimension, interpret that in a metaphysical manner that can help explain evolution, and then give that back to the world in simple explanations that help others experience greater empowerment in their lives. The restructuring the world is experiencing occurs through you and will happen much quicker the sooner you accept your unique role in this life. In the beginning, we said you would become more of yourself to indicate it is a process and one you at times resist, as does the world, which again, we urge you to be patient with yourself and thus the world. You will be fine, Wilhelm. That's the message. And so now, when you listen to the recording that came through, it will all make sense. And there's an alignment. And that alignment exists within you. And I know that for sure because that was what my life led me to uncover. But please enjoy this, and you're going to get a lot out of it. Your best life is really in front of you. See you soon.